Hey friends, so welcome to another video on the She Talks Systems channel. If you are watching this video, if you've clicked on and you've seen the title time tracking in ClickUp, no doubt you are probably looking for a solution to make time tracking easy to manage inside of your business. If you are already using the time tracking side of ClickUp and you're looking for new ways and new features, I'm going to walk you through what some of those are, because ClickUp has actually made some updates to the time tracking features inside of the platform. And if you are on the fence and perhaps you're already using an external time tracking tool, then maybe you're wondering, what are the benefits of using the native time tracker inside of one platform versus using the time tracker in an external tool? Now, it really will come down to preference. I'm not here to tell anybody what they have to do. I am just here to present the facts, and the facts are ClickUp has a very intuitive time tracker, which means that you and your team can track time, you can view timesheets, you can view reports on the time tracking that is going on inside of your workspace. So if you are curious about how that can work and how that really looks, then stick around for this video, because I'm going to take you behind the scenes on exactly what that looks like. If you are new around here, I just want to quickly introduce myself. My name is Nicola Melinda. I am a verified ClickUp consultant, and if you are enjoying the videos that you're seeing today, be sure to hit subscribe and make sure that you don't miss out on any new content that is uploaded to the channel. Alright, so when it comes to tracking time in ClickUp, first things that you need to do is actually make sure you have the ClickUp switched on. So let's just go to the top menu. There's a quick action menu just at the top here. Click on that and it will pull up all of your ClickUps. So what we can do is just in the search bar, just click on time, and it will pull through anything time related. In this video, we're going to focus on time estimates and time tracking. Time tracking is really the main thing that we want to focus on, because we're looking at timesheets. So we want to ensure that this ClickUp is switched on. If it's looking like this in orange, it means you've got it switched on. It's going to tell you what spaces you have that app applied to as well. So if you only do time tracking in one particular space, then just switch off the other spaces. But if you do time tracking across your workspace, then just switch it on so you can always find it. Also, what you'll notice is that in time estimates, it's going to ask you what are the average hours per day that you or your team members work on. So here I've put 5 hours a day, and you can always update these hours as you need. You can choose to display in hours is the recommendation, and also you can choose to have time estimates per assignee. Basically what it will do is split the time estimates across all of your assignees on a particular task. So I tend to keep that switched off and just group the estimated time per task. For the time tracking, you can also choose whether to default time entries to billable time, which means that if you have client work and you also have your team working on internal work that's non-chargeable, non-billable, then you might choose to decide whether you have the time defaulting to billable, if you only do billable time tracking. If you have time tracking across internal tasks as well, just keep that switched off, and then your team can just toggle on and toggle off what tasks are billable versus non-billable. Okay, so we're currently just looking at a list that I have in ClickUp, and as you can see, we have a custom field that is on view called tracked time. Now you can choose to bring that column up onto your list view just by clicking on add a column. This is a default custom field that you have in place. If you just select time or search for it, you can pull up your time tracked, your time estimated fields, and you can choose to have those on view in this particular list or in any list for that matter. So I have that on view in this list here, and it means that any time that has been tracked, we'll be able to see what time is tracked against all of these tasks. So as an example, we can see that we have a task that does have some time tracked to it. It's got 3 hours and 32 minutes tracked to it. So if we open up that task, we can have a look at what that looks like from a time tracking perspective. So for your team member, if they are viewing the list view, they can literally click on the time tracker, and that will start tracking the time. So we can see here that I've tracked time. I tracked 32 minutes 1 hour ago. So we can see how much time was tracked on this particular task. So if you click on the time tracker, it will just start. At the top, you've got your little recorder, the time tracking countdown, so you can see how much time is being tracked, and it's going to be assigned to this particular task. Now, if I click on the time tracker tool, what it will do is open up a view for me. So what I'm able to see is the immediate action of what's happening in this time that's being tracked. So in external time tracking tools, you'll be able to see what's tracking, the date, the time. What you can see in ClickUp that I really like is that time is being tracked against this specific task. And I can also look at historic data as well. So I can see what tasks have time tracked against them across the past few days, the month, that particular day. So that is really helpful. So I can add in some notes if I want to. I can also apply some tags. So I can add tags to my task. So if I just add a task or create a new tag here, that tag is now going to be applied to this particular work that's been tracked. We've also got the option to say if this is billable or non-billable. So if it's billable, it means it's being charged to the client. If it's non-billable, it means it's just internal. So you can also add that on as well. So if I click that off, it just goes grey. If it is billable, it will be green with the little $sign, as you can see down below. So from this view, you can actually access your timesheet. And there's also another way to access your timesheet, which I'm going to show you now. So we'll click out of that task. And if we scroll up on the left-hand side, you'll see that there is also a little option called timesheets. So let's click on that, and that will pull us into our timesheet view inside of ClickUp. So again, this is something that has been refined, updated with the ClickUp team, which is super, super cool. So the first thing that I would say when you do come into this view is to ensure that your capacity for the week is up to date. The way to do that is just go to the settings at the top, click on that little settings icon, and then your capacity will be for the week. So at the moment, I've set my capacity as 5 hours for the week. If that is correct, what you can see here is it looks like I've gone over capacity on some of the days. Now, the reason why it's telling me I've gone over capacity, but in total, I've only really gone 5 minutes over capacity, is that the time tracker will split that time equally across all of the days. So in essence, I've worked more on a Saturday than I have on any other day throughout the week, if this is accurate. So when it comes to looking at the data, you want to ensure that the data you're seeing, is that really accurate over a period of time? Perhaps the capacity for that particular day has been too much, and that may open up some other conversations. That might be your team member just choosing to work more that day, or actually their workload was overloaded, and that is actually a capacity planning issue. So having those conversations, looking at the data, will help you to determine what's correct versus what's not correct. As you can see here, we've got the time tracker running on this particular task, so we can choose to stop the timer, and we can also start the timer on other tasks that we've worked on as well. So there's a lot of detail in this section. We can switch up the view, so if I don't want to see the view in this way, I can switch it to a list view, and all it's done is it's broken it down into the dates that the time has been tracked. I can still see the tasks that time has been tracked against. I can also see where tags have been applied against the task, where I've started and stopped tracking time, and any description, so any task description, what I've been actually doing as I've been doing that work. What have I really been working on? I can update the description in that area and save it down. If there's any time entries that haven't been added or have not been captured, I can manually add that time entry right here. So the way to do that is simply to enter the time that is missing. So let's just add in 2 hours. And where should we say that this time is? So currently it's on a Tuesday. I did some work on a Monday, and I did that maybe in the afternoon, early afternoon. Let's put that for 1 p.m. Next, we want to select the task that we was working on. So I might just select, let's put a live training in there, select our task and add that time. So now you can see that that time has now been added to my timesheet, and I can choose to add a tag to that if I wish. So I might just say this was a marketing activity, and then that is now part of my timesheet. So you can start to build out your timesheet inside of ClickUp. So the next area that I want to focus on is how you can filter the time as well. So these 3 options at the top, they are your filter options. So you can choose to view billable tasks or non-billable. So I can say I only want to see my non-billable tasks. I can then ask to see if it's got a particular tag applied to it. So I can say if that tag is or is not set. So where are there not any tags applied to my task? It's going to filter that down for me even more. And we only have 1 task remaining. And if I wanted to, I can actually say, is that time tracked greater than, and put the figure in, or I can say if it's less than or if it's equal to. So this task that is up is 30 minutes has been tracked. So I could just say equal to 30 minutes if I really wanted to filter down. If you have a bigger team and there's a lot more time being tracked across the workspace, then this might be really good for you to understand what team members are only tracking less than 30 minutes or less than 10 hours a week, and you can filter that down. So those are the filters you can put in place, and you can also do that on historic timesheets as well. So I can also look back. Let's look back on a historic timesheet and see what time has been tracked against the task. I've got more billable tasks in this particular timesheet, and I can see that there aren't any tags applied. So if I wanted to, I can go through and apply my tags on these tasks. Now, what is interesting is we can see that for this particular week, I went way over capacity. I was doing a lot more work across the course of the week. So we've got a lot more data that we're focused on, that we're looking at, and that's because we have hands down in a client project. So of course there's going to be more time that's going to be required. So if I was to adjust my weekly capacity and up that from 5 hours to 25 hours across the week, you'll see that now adjust to say that actually in total I definitely was working much more within a much more contained capacity. Now I can see here that there's a time entry saying that I did 10 hours within 1 day, and that is just not true. So let's edit this time entry to make it a bit better across the week. So we're going to expand our task where we have that time entered, and then what we're going to do is actually edit this particular entry. So we're going to change this to 8 hours. So you can see that's now changed, but I also want to add in another time entry on this one. So I can just hover over another day and just add in the time that I believe is correct. So let's just add in 2 hours. And let's do that here as well. And you can see that that time entry is now being added to that particular task. So it's now spreading the time out for me. So let's say 2 hours, and then I'm still going to edit my 8 hours. So let's just bring that down to 4 hours. That's a lot more believable. So as you can see, as I'm adding in the hours, the capacity is being adjusted. So I can also see, have I really been working in my capacity, or have I been doing too much within a particular day? It's going to tell me my hourly totals at the top there as well. So you can always make edits and adjustments to the time entries. And then what you can do, you've got your 3-dot menu here, allow you to change the date, move to another task, remove from that task, or delete the entry altogether. So you've got some options on adjusting the time entries. And also don't forget, you can switch on whether this is a billable task and mark it as billable, or if this is non-billable project work. So that's how you can update the task entries within your own timesheets as well. What if you want to see timesheets of your team inside of the workspace? So at the top, you can just click on all timesheets, and it's going to pull up all of your team's timesheets and the time that they have tracked throughout your that particular week that you're focused on. So just click on this week. That will bring us up to date so we can see where we're at. I can see what my team member has charged time to across the week. And again, even though it's saying that she's in the red a little bit, she's gone over by 27 minutes here and there, actually she's within her weekly capacity of 2.5 hours. So if we just open up my team member, I can then see what time has been charged to what task. And again, in the same principle, if there's time entries that need to be readjusted, then they can be readjusted. So we've got access to the same settings to add tags, mark tasks as being billable, and update the time entries that are being tracked on the particular task as well. So this gives you an idea of all of the tasks that are being tracked within the workspace, which is so useful. Now, if you want to take things a step further, let's dive into how this can work from a dashboard reporting perspective. Okay, so inside of ClickUp, you do have the option to start with some templates. You've got the time tracking template that you can create. And if I set this up with you, you'll see how that works. It's going to ask where you want to pull your data from. So in this scenario, if you're tracking time in one particular space, i.e. your client delivery space, then just select that one space, or you can select all of the spaces if you are tracking time across your workspace. So select all, and then you want to say what the time range is. So if I want to look at time that's been tracked over this month, this year, this week, you can decide what time range is this particular dashboard going to be pulling in for you. You can also do it based on a rolling period as well. So you can say over the last 30 days, that's what we want to be pulling in. And when you're happy, just click select create dashboard, and that's going to create your dashboard for you. So make sure to update the name of your dashboard so you know what this is. So we'll just call this team time tracking. ClickUp has kindly pulled in some additional information to give you some information on getting started with this dashboard so you can understand the widgets that they have pulled in. So let's look at our time reporting card first of all. We're going to refresh this. So let's look at some of the settings that we've got. We've got time reporting for everyone. The time range, let's do it over this week. So we can adjust the settings as we want. We can choose the grouping. So whether that is based on a user and based on a task, we could do that. We can also have labels for the time labels. So do we want to track time based on a particular label that's been applied to that time tracking? And then all of the people that we want to see both billable and non-billable as well. And let's include any subtasks that have time attached to them. So let's pull that in and see what data it pulls through. So it's pulled through time that's been tracked across the week. And I can see this it's now going to allow me to expand to see what tasks the time has been tracked to. And also, I can say what tags I also want to see applied on any of these tasks. So that's going to filter it down for me. So now it's only showing me the tasks that have this particular tag applied to it. And so this is a task that we added some time to. Because it's got that tag attached to it, it's only going to pull through. So I can switch that off and it will just revert back to the previous view that I had before, so I can see what the time reporting has been across the week. Now the timesheet view, again, let's update this view and let's say when this timesheet view should be focused on. Let's do it over the last month. Or actually, let's do it over the last 30 days. Again, we're going to select everyone. If you do want to select just certain team members, you can do that. You've got the option to select one or the other. But if we just select everyone, just click save there, it will pull in the data and the timesheets for your team members. Let's just select someone. So let's select myself so I can see what time has been tracked across the last 30 days. So you can see where capacity, where time has been tracked, where it's been too much capacity, so 7 out of 5 hours, 3 hours out of 5 hours has been tracked. And I can see a total amount of time that's been tracked across the month. So that is really, really helpful data for me if I am looking to see what team members are actually tracking their time versus who's not tracking their time, who is tracking too much time, and is that based on what's been estimated? So if you are using task estimates, which is what we can see at the top here, are you underestimating or overestimating the amount of time that should be used for a particular task? So if we're looking at time that has been estimated, we can see here that 15 minutes was estimated for this task. Actually took a lot longer than that, whereas 1 hour was estimated for this task, took a little bit longer for that as well. So that just gives you an indication of how well you are planning the capacity of your team members, and it could be down to underestimating the work or overloading your team with the tasks that they need to do. In any case, this will help you to determine if you're going to be on track for your budgets, especially if these are billable tasks. This could affect the budget for your projects and in turn mean that you need to have wider conversations. So definitely an area to think about and keep an eye on. The next widget that actually I do quite like is where you can view workspace points. And it's kind of like an internal friendly competition, but this will show you how many tasks have been completed, how many comments have been added, what comments have been resolved. So again, make sure you update the settings in these cards so that you can really get the right data coming through. So let's just put this on a last 30 days and let's just save that and it will refresh. So we can see that 20 tasks have been completed, 2 comments have been added, and the data will refresh. So as you are working in the workspace, this is where these workspace points will be updated, which is super helpful. Now, if you do want to add in some other cards, if you want to customize the dashboard, which you absolutely can do, even if you're using a template, then head over to the time tracking cards where you've got some additional options. So you can add in extra timesheet reports. So if you want to see your timesheet split for each individual team member, you can do that. If you want to see your billable time entries, this is also a really good report. So we can set that up across perhaps the last 30 days as well. That's our default time range. We can select everyone. We only want to see the billable tasks and we'll include subtasks as well. Add that in and then it will pull through the data for any billable work that has time tracked against it. And again, you can just expand the person so you can see what tasks they have been charging time to. So we've got an overview of all of the tasks and we can even split that out even more. So if some of these tasks are actually they don't have comments applied to it, they can be updated. If, for example, they're not actually billable tasks, you can also click on that time entry to edit the time entry from this view. So if you just click on edit, and then you can just make adjustments. So maybe it's not actually billable tasks, or maybe you've got additional notes to add in there as well as a description, and you can make those updates and just click save and it will save those updates down. So if you are removing any billable tasks that are accidentally marked as billable, it will just remove them from the report. Okay, so tell me, what did you guys think? Drop a comment below and let me know, has this video swayed you? If you're not currently using the ClickUp time tracker, no shade if it hasn't, but do drop a comment and let me know your thoughts on how today's video has just given you some insights into how time tracking and reporting can work inside of the platform. I will be doing more videos like this, so make sure you do subscribe. And if you do want to find ways to work with me, there are some links in the description on my services and some resources to help you get started in streamlining your business. Thank you guys so much for watching and I will see you next time.